The depleted Warriors bounced back against the Denver Nuggets in what felt like a reverse trap game. With Podziemski and Melton handling the ball, Golden State countered Denver's size by pairing Horford and GP2 against the Nuggets' bigs. After a brutal third quarter slump, the Warriors attacked Jokic and Valančiunas in space, generating clean threes down the stretch. I wanted to break down how those adjustments flipped the game in the fourth quarter, so let's get to it. After a hot first half, the Warriors could not hit the ocean, going 0 for 13 from downtown to start the third quarter. It really was you live by the 3, you die by the 3. Valanciunas is the backup Nuggets center during the non-Jokic minutes, and Denver put him on GP2 in the corner. Down 3 in the beginning of the fourth quarter, here we have an on-ball pick and roll with Moody and Post, and the Nuggets switch. As Post rolls to the paint, you can see Valanciunas calls for Spencer Jones to peel switch out back to the perimeter so he himself can slide closer to the paint. With the shot clock winding down, this defensive coverage was a tiny bit late as Moody swings the rock to the open paint. However, every team has a scouting report of letting GP2 shoot the ball, and with Jones having his hands down and allowing the shot, I'm sure Denver will live with this. GP2 fortunately knocks it down confidently to tie the game. Moses Moody had a fantastic game and was letting it fly. The Warriors run a split action with Post in the short corner. As Payton comes to set the off-ball screen, his man Valanciunas is wired to drop down and protect the paint. Since the Nuggets were not switching off-ball screens, Moody gives Hardaway a nice shove to create space first and comes off the GP2 pick wide open and finds Valanciunas in a heavy drop coverage. Bruce Brown makes a last-ditch attempt to contest, but Moody already has a clean look and hits the wide-open triple. To be fair, Valanciunas did have some solid backup center minutes, but the Warriors still wanted to relentlessly attack him. Payton sets an on-ball screen for Pods to find the center in the drop coverage. As the ball swung around the perimeter, you can see Jones point to Valanciunas to peel switch again, so he himself can stay on the three-point line and let him guard the non-shooter in GP2. As Post cuts here, Valanciunas gives him a little love tap to reset the defensive 3-second clock, because all he wants to do is camp in the paint. With a pretty much 5-out offense and nothing really creative to show for it, the ball finds itself back to the corner Payton. Like I said, the Nuggets game plan to let him shoot these, as all coaches would, and it's up to GP2 to knock them down. Here he pulls a no-dip 3 and even quick releases it with a late contest from the big man. Off a Jokic missed 3, the Warriors want to run out to the break as much as possible. With Santos handling the ball, the Nuggets pretty much have their men guarded until for some reason Strawther decides to look behind him to see Al Horford. I am not sure why he decided to drop lower, he probably did not see Jokic behind him, but this hesitation allows the one swing pass to Pods to step right into an uncontested pull-up 3. Pods never lacks for confidence and was shooting the first open look he could find and knocks this one down. He also had a near triple-double, and I saw some stat where he has a surprisingly higher than average shot percentage when the shot clock is winding down or expiring. Here he and Santos run a pick and roll where Strawther is fighting over the pick and Jokic is in a drop coverage. Pods does a weird fake shot into a bounce pass back to the popping Santos, who shot fakes and attacks a longer closeout, getting right to the paint. Now, Jokic is technically supposed to be a low man, but he's clearly not a defensive player, while Murray has a 2 weak side Warriors. Great kick out pass back to the open Pods, who is brilliant at also attacking off the catch to get right by Jamal Murray. And with the shot clock winding down, he pulls off a one-legged lefty floater from 16 feet to beat the buzzer. What a shot here. Golden State also had some incredible defensive plays down the stretch, with D'Anthony Melton hands all over the passing lanes. As Jokic tries to post up a mismatch in Pods, Horford comes from the backside to help. Jamal Murray sees this and tells Brown to give it up and bring the ball back up to the top of the key, but Melton is right there and takes a quick peek behind him before jumping the passing lane. Way to make the right gamble here for a fast break bucket and a huge momentum play to build the lead. Here's another defense to offense play that started from a Melton deflection. As Jokic puts himself in position to abuse another mismatch, the Warriors guards on the back end make this pass super uncomfortable with Richard leaving the corner first and Melton making a last-ditch effort. As he brings the ball up here, the play unfortunately slightly breaks off, but you can see Melton tries to attack Jokic in the drop coverage, with Brown finding to recover. Melton keeps his dribble alive to wait for Brown to jump up and down before patiently kicking back out to Horford. Al had arguably his best game of the season today. The 40-year-old spots up and knocks down a huge triple to keep the Nuggets at bay. Attacking Nikola Jokic in the clutch is not a new strategy to the Warriors. If Steph Curry was in the game, they would be spamming pick and roll. But without Steph, we have Melton and Horford running pick and rolls, and the threat of Horford's shot forces the Nuggets to switch here. As Melton sizes up Jokic, Murray tells Brown to switch so he can guard Pods, and the Nuggets end up having most of the area covered. I'm not the biggest fan of this isolation and contested shot by Melton, but bringing the big man out of the paint leaves the entire key vulnerable to offensive rebounds. Cam Johnson is going to box out Richard here, but Murray ends up not boxing his own man, probably because he wasn't expecting the hustle by Podziemski to crash and get this timely tip in to go. Let's keep the game simple and attack Jokic on another pick and pop with Horford. The Nuggets want to prevent the actual usage of the screen by icing the ball handler to the sideline, keeping Jokic on the drop coverage and preventing the switch as well. As Horford pops to the three-point line, Bruce Brown decides to leave his man to help on the potential pass to him. However, this forces the weak side low man and Christian Brown to have to X out and cover both Warriors. Melton reads his coverage and simply kicks it to the wing to the open Pods. Much longer closeout by Brown, and Pods was having the hottest fourth quarter of his life here and knocks down the open triple. To cap off the comeback, Pods and Horford run another on-ball screen to go at the Nuggets MVP. As Horford goes to screen to the perimeter, Cam Johnson is shading again to the baseline, knowing Jokic is right there playing a show. I also can't really blame Pods for these types of shots when he is this hot, but he hesitates a couple times and dribbles into rhythm before pulling a midi from the baseline right in Jokic's face. And that right there is the dagger. There you guys have it. This game flipped because Brandon Podziemski changed the tempo in the fourth quarter. Early on he struggled scoring, but down the stretch he rebounded hard, pushed in transition, and forced Denver's bigs to defend in space. Once the Warriors started attacking Jokic and Valančiūnas off simple pick and pop and off-ball actions, the threes came back within the flow of the offense. In the third, they drifted and lived on contested jumpers, but in the fourth quarter, they went back to attacking the Nuggets bigs, collapsing the defense and making the simple pass. Horford's role was important because he spaced the floor and acted as the connective passer at the top. In a game with just 9 guys and without their top players, this was easily one of the best wins of the year as the Warriors continued their push after the All-Star break. They made the right counters late, executed with a lot of composure, and held up defensively despite the size disadvantage. This was a huge one to grab right before the schedule softens up with several tanking teams ahead, but first they have to survive a pair of back-to-backs to open up the stretch. If you guys like this breakdown, like and subscribe to see more.